potentially hundreds of airline passengers who might have bumped into or flown with this Ebola victim along his travels from Liberia to Brussels, then Washington, D.C., then ultimately Dallas. For United Airlines, it is a huge undertaking, and for the passengers, it is now informing. It's a scary one at that. To marketing expert Bruce Turkel, who says airlines aren't doing a very good job. They've got this overwhelming problem to deal with and track down anyone and everyone with whom this guy might have come in contact with. Easier said than done, right?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, people have to understand that the Secret Service had nothing to do with this guy getting into Washington. This happened without anybody knowing. But the big problem is that fear spreads faster than disease. And the airlines have to get in front of this, or what they're going to find is people are just simply going to refuse to get onto planes.
Are we at that point yet?
No, we're not at that point yet because it's just starting to fester. But look what happened in 9/11. The incidents that terrified people were not repeated, and the infrastructure was not damaged. Yet people refused to fly, and vacations and hotels and conventions canceled. And the same thing could happen here. And it has nothing to do, I mean, if you look at it factually, the hospital released this guy. How in the world is an airline supposed to know?
Well, you raised my next point here. Now, when officials tell us to be calm, I can be calm, but when you keep going back to say about that calm thing, still be calm, but here's another disturbing development. Whether it's these disturbing developments at the Secret Service or these disturbing developments, first calling ISIS the JV team, and then they're obviously somewhat worse. I'm not blaming the authorities as much as I'm saying you've got a pattern here across the board, across the parties, across government agencies of telling us one thing and then having to revise it. So what's to blame Americans from thinking that whatever we're being told is wrong?
It reminds me of the movie Animal House, if you remember at the end when there was the riot and the one guy saying, "Remain calm, all is well." And we know that all, in fact, is not well. And then what happens is things like airlines, do they have to stop calling themselves carriers? Do they have to stop calling the airports terminals? I mean, all of these things will begin to chip away. They sound innocuous now.
But should we have tougher rules? You mentioned the airlines. Should we just have tougher rules? I mean, there are a lot of people who say the better part of valor might be don't allow flights in from Liberia or the affected region. I don't know if that's going too far, but would that calm people down, or are we far past that point?
I think we'd be kidding ourselves because, as has been proven, somebody can get from one place in the world to almost any other place within a day or two. And as you heard, you don't see symptoms for, what, 21 days?
Exactly.
The bigger issue is if you start putting those systems into place, first of all, there's the privacy issues about checking people's temperature or whatever. Second of all, are people going to wait in longer lines? I mean, you have a real balancing act. Basically, the airlines, boy, they're in trouble if they do, and they're in trouble if they don't. If they don't do anything, we're going to blame them, even though it's not their fault. If they do
blame
something,
a lot of people. They'll be on a long list, I suspect. But Bruce,
they're going to lose the dollars.
Yeah, in the interim, that is certainly likely the case. Bruce, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
We should stress, as Bruce is pointing out, Duncan did not exhibit any signs when he left Liberia, even when he first arrived in Brussels, or for that matter, when he went to Washington, D.C., or even ultimately in Dallas. So remember, this so-called 21-day incubation period, it took days for him to realize, at least on the 24th, that, wait a minute, something is going on here. Serious enough for him 2 days later to go to the hospital and be checked out, and then be told to leave. Wow.